Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today I have two more custom planner spreads that I am working on, and these are super custom. So they're both big vertical spreads, but Bobbie asked for a Radio City Rockettes themed spread, and Gianna asked for a Yellowstone spreads. So I definitely had to go and search. I had to like figure out what I was going to do. I'm still not totally sure. So we're going to kind of wing it, but I'm going to put you guys on fast forward. I will link everything that I end up using down below. Otherwise, let's go. All right, so let's get started with Bobbie, who requested a Radio City Rockettes spread, which I thought was such a fun idea. The Radio City Rockettes, of course, are best known for their Christmas Spectacular. I have actually been to New York and seen the Rockettes do their Christmas Spectacular. We went for our 1-year anniversary many years ago, and it was so cool. It's a very, very cool show. It's just amazing how talented they are. So I thought it'd be fun to do a Rockette spread, but I didn't want it to feel super Christmassy. They're best known for the Christmas Spectacular, but of course they perform all kinds of shows all year round. So I tried not to go super Christmassy. I found this watercolor painting on Etsy. I actually found two different ones that were paintings of Radio City Music Hall with info about the Rockettes, and I wanted to use those as kind of the basis for the spread. I purchased them off Etsy, and you can actually, it's cool because the images I bought, you can purchase and print up to, golly, like a poster size because it's really good quality image. So I'm going to use it as the background of one of the pages and then as the forefront of another. So I have the two gray pieces of paper. We're going to do this one as the background. Let's put some adhesive down just so that it will stay in place. And I am going to layer boxes over the top of it so it does end up covering up a lot of the image, but that's okay. It gives the impression of the image in the background, and because there will be a similar image over to the right side, I think it'll all end up okay. So there you go. Put those three blocks right there. I'm just trying to make sure I have room and everything is spaced correctly. Whenever you trim out the boxes and then you're putting them on top of another piece of paper, it can be really easy to get things kind of askew. But see, you can still see Radio City. You still get the impression of the building in the background. You still get the New York feeling, I would say. Now, on the right side, we just have the gray. I'm going to line up the boxes. We're putting down just our set of 4 boxes. It looks uneven right now, but here is the horizontal picture that I purchased. I'm going to trim it out. I'm actually going to trim out all these pictures. So I did a search. I purchased the watercolor paintings, so pretty. And then I did a search for previous Rockettes posters. And those are the other images that you see on this paper. I'm going to trim these out as well. And then I'm going to matte all of these on black. I thought it'd be fun to almost have these poster images like they're advertising outside of Radio City Music Hall for past and present Christmas spectaculars. And then they had a New York spectacular at one point. I assume they're doing other shows throughout the year. There's actually not a lot of Rockette clip art out there. There's some dance artwork. You're going to see that come later, but there's not a lot that's specifically to the Rockettes. And so it definitely challenged me to create the essence of the spread without having like exact images, which is kind of fun. Like it doesn't necessarily like scream Rockettes. You don't have the line of kicking girls down the page, but I still think it's a meaningful spread. I think it's a really pretty colorful spread with all of that watercolor look. And yes, that watercolor image on the right is huge. It's covering up a bunch of boxes. It'll be okay. It's still going to be pretty functional in the end. And I like the black border around all these posters. It makes it kind of pop. All right, this is Mojo Jojo's dated book. The one, it has all the days of the week and numbers and things like that. So I'm going to use that to put the days of the week at the top. Bobbie requested an undated spread, so she'll be able to just add numbers whenever she decides to use this. Of course, she could save it for next December for a Christmas time spread because it does have a Christmas feel because the Rockettes, you think of Christmas, but I tried to make it to where she could use it in January because why not? Why not celebrate the Rockettes in January? And I'm sure you could still go see them perform in January. I think that'd be awesome. Okay, so the watercolor is going to go in the middle, and then I'm going to kind of space out the posters. You'll see me move them around throughout. You get a lot of color through those images. So for the other boxes and functional things, I'm going to keep it in the grays, gray, 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 because I'm going to keep black to these dancing images. This is another set of images I purchased off of Etsy, all these dancing silhouettes that I thought really portrayed just the beauty of dance, which helps really drive home the Rockettes. I mean, they're just some immensely talented women that do the Rockettes, and it's amazing. And I think it's super cool to just imagine. It makes me wonder if Bobbie was a dancer. So Bobbie, let us know if you danced in a previous life. I am not a dancer. I did winter guard, which involves some dance. It's like color guard, marching band, the girls that do the flags and dance and spin rifles and everything. I did that. So I got a tiny, tiny little bit of dance training through that. But I certainly would not consider myself a trained dancer in any sense of the word. But I know enough to really thoroughly appreciate the ability of all of the Rockettes because it's just truly amazing. Anyone that dances at that high level, it takes such dedication, which is one of the things I just respect about it so much. So the goal is to use these dancing images near all of the functional boxes that are on the spread. So I'm going to start out with two checklist boxes, my favorite. We're going to have those across the spread. And then, of course, we're going to add some other functional boxes. See how I'm laying them and overlapping them with that watercolor painting? So you're still going to see the watercolor painting, but with those boxes around, it gives you some writing space. Of course, Bobbie could write over the top of the painting. I don't think she will. I think she'll love it too much to want to write over the top of it. That would be my case. That would be what would happen with me. But I think there's still a lot of room to write. And maybe she saves this for a week that's not as busy, that there's not as many things going on. So that's every now and then you have weeks like that, and you can really go over the top with decorating, which is what makes decorative planning fun. You can kind of amp up your decorating when you have lighter weeks, or you could dial it down when you have to use all the space for writing. So it was a little tricky to find the right place to put all of my little dancer ladies because I wanted them to make sense with the boxes as if they were interacting with those functional boxes. So I had to adjust some of the posters from time to time. And if you wanted to do a spread similar to this, you don't have to have those poster images either. If those were boxes, you would also have a little bit more room to write, but it's a big spread. There's lots of room, and I'm sure Bobbie could also, even if she wanted, add an extra piece of paper in. It just kind of depends, but I'm so pleased with how the spread turns out. This poster doesn't make it on, doesn't make the cut. Sorry, poster. You'll have to come back another time, but let's put the more recent one right there. I still have several girls that I can include, so I want to make room for them. Look how beautiful all these dancing images. It kind of makes me want to dance. I miss when my daughter danced. I loved that. She was tiny when she did it. Now she's into soccer and track and things like that. But dancing is just such a gorgeous activity. All right, I'm looking for where I can add a little bit more function. We'll layer in some more boxes so that there's plenty of room. There's definitely some holes over there on the left that I have to deal with, and I end up not putting anything in the sidebar, which is very unusual for me. You all know that I love having lists in the sidebar, but I definitely did not want to cover up that image of Radio City, so we're just going to leave that blank. Bobbie, if you want, you could always add a sidebar sticker over there. I think you would still be able to see hints of the painting from underneath, but I just decided not to. All right, it's looking pretty good, pretty balanced with the girls, 3 and 3 on each side. I'm just seeing what else I could add right there in the middle where, there we go. We're gonna layer in these two boxes, and I've considered overlapping them and having them go into Monday, but I think we'll keep them in Tuesday and we'll just line it up. That way we have boxes on every day, except technically Saturday doesn't have a box right now, but you could totally add one at the top of Saturday. I think that would work. All right, so let's go through, now that the boxes are there, let's go through and add some lines. I think that will really help the spread be filled in. It'll show you all the places in my head that I think you could write. Adding lines is a great way to define your writing space. I don't often do it on my own spreads, but I do it a lot on my Patreon spreads, just because I think it's a good way to really picture where the writing is going to go and it helps. It's kind of like a placeholder, you might say. So we'll add a couple on Saturday, and that looks good. I am so pleased with how this one came out. All right, next up is Yellowstone. So, Yellowstone is a TV show that I have never watched. There is artwork for Yellowstone out there, and I did go and purchase some off of Etsy so that I could create this spread for Gianna. But I'm gonna do something different. So, I printed some of these pictures a little bit small, and you can see I'm stamping over the top. This is a stamp set from By the Well for God. I think it's called Swatches of Love, maybe. I'm pretty sure they might still have it in their shop. I'm stamping over the top with this antique linen because I want it to look antiqued. And then I'm going to trim these out. I know this kind of seems crazy. I'm going to take this Polaroid looking stamp that comes in Swatches of Love, and I'm going to stamp out 7 different Polaroid images and then trim out the images from the show and put them in the Polaroids. So again, I'm wanting to capture the essence of the show, some of the main characters, without it being crazy over the top. So we'll see how it comes out. You guys might think it's crazy over the top by the end, but I am pretty pleased that the Yellowstone part is a little bit more subtle, and you're just getting the feel of like the cowboy feel, I guess you would say. So I'm going to trim all of these out and put them on the Polaroids, and then trim out the Polaroids and use them as paper pieces to decorate the planner spread. By the way, this is a great way to use stamps for your planner. I know a lot of people get nervous stamping directly in your planner because if you mess up, it can feel overwhelming to fix. But using stamps on white paper and then trimming it out and then putting it in your planner might seem like an extra step, but it's a nice kind of control system so that you can make sure your stamping is accurate. It's how you want it. Then you can see I can just trim these out, and I've kind of created my own paper pieces. You can do this with all kinds of stamping. Maybe stamp it in black, color it in, do whatever you want, and then trim it out and put it in your planner if it makes you a little nervous to stamp directly in your planner. All right, the other image I'm going to use, I have these two kind of, we're going to go with desert landscape. I don't think Yellowstone is like a desert landscape, but this gave me the cowboy impression. You can see my printer was acting up. I printed this several times trying to get it to not streak at the bottom. I don't know why it was doing that, but I ended up, we're going to work with it. Gianna, I hope you don't mind. It's a little streaky at the bottom, but I think I cover it. I don't think it's going to look bad in the end. But these are 2 images that I purchased, and we actually used them as printables in Patreon a few months ago. Each month, a few of my tiers receive printables that they can use, and I format them in different ways. And this one had some really pretty landscape pictures. So I blew it up, and I'm going to use them as background. So I'm kind of creating what you would call like a blackout spread, but it doesn't actually have black in it, if that makes sense. I'm going to use these landscape images to completely cover the boxes that are in the middle of the spread. So we'll have day, and then we have night, all set in this like rustic looking but still modern background. So I'm going to put these down, and then I'm going to surround the 2 images with washi tape, almost like they are framed, just because I think it looks nice. It was a little bit tricky with such a big thing to make sure it was as straight as possible. So we'll put that one down, and then the same kind of deal on the right side. And yes, it looks streaky at the bottom. It'll be fine. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. I was really nervous about the streaking, but I just could not. Have you guys had that? There's nothing wrong with my printer. All the ink levels are fine. When I print out other things, it's fine. It was like just these images that were like a big struggle. So I'm going to put brown all the way around the edge of this one, so it really does look kind of like a framed piece of art. And then with the other image, we're going to go with a dark blue washi tape. Again, my patrons really pushed me outside of my comfort zone. I love that they want to celebrate their favorite things in their planner. I think that is so fantastic. Our planners are supposed to make us smile. Yes, they're supposed to be functional, keep us on track, help us set goals. But because you're interacting with them on a daily basis, why not decorate with things that really bring a smile to your face, that make you happy? Embrace those things. So yes, doing the Rockettes, doing Yellowstone, doing your favorite movies, your favorite TV shows, your favorite characters. Add your personality into your planner. All right, so obviously we're all decorative. We got to add some function. We're going to do a long sidebar sticker right over here, and then we're going to start placing the Polaroids down the page. Obviously, I don't really have the days of the week defined, so I need to grab boxes, which is what I'm going to do. And we're going to make sure just to start out that there is a box of some sort on every day of the week, and then we're going to fill it in. It ends up covering the landscape pictures. Again, that's okay. The whole point is that this has to be functional, so it's going to have places to write and boxes and things to function, but you're still going to get the impression of that landscape. It still makes a really big impact on the page. So I think it works, but putting these boxes to get started kind of as a jumping off point for me really helped, because I was able to see where the days of the week were, see where everything was spaced out, and make sure that what I wanted there was covered. I hope that makes sense. It makes sense in my head. All right, box on every day, check. Once I get this one down for Saturday, and then I'm going to kind of lay out where the Polaroids will be. So we have these little Polaroids of our characters from Yellowstone, and you can see some of the Polaroids are covering up some of my streaky printer nonsense. This one will go here. I definitely want to use all of these. It makes sense, but I don't want two of the same character like in the same place, if that makes sense. I think I got them all moved around. There's several of the character that's named Rip, because I guess he's very popular, and so he is on here several times, but otherwise we got some other characters represented. All right, so that's looking good as far as dispersing of the Polaroids. I'm going to put a couple on the left-hand side down, and then the other ones I'll start to secure down as I add more boxes around the spread, just to make sure that they're all tilting the way I want them to tilt. I would love to hear in the comments, do you watch the show Yellowstone? I don't. It's on our list. My husband and I have been saying we want to watch it. It kind of seems to me like it would be similar to the show Dallas, which I remember my parents absolutely loving back in the day. And I feel like it'd be the type of show that I would probably enjoy watching with my husband. It feels like one of those type of shows. We just haven't gotten to it yet, but I know it's really popular. I hear parents, soccer parents talking about it frequently, actually. So let me know if you watch it, if you're into it, if you think I would like it. I would love it to hear from you. All right, I'm starting to get more things down on the page, and you can see I'm using the lines again to show where you can write. Yes, you can write over the top of the colored paper. No worries there. You just have to kind of define it. And having the lines, especially when I've already like taken away a lot of the boxes and structure from the page, adding those lines back in helps to give it a little bit more structure. And then it also shows me where I have some holes, I would say, like where I can add a little bit more function into the spread. And of course, right here, putting one over in this area again covers up some of that streaky printer action and provides a little bit more writing space in those areas. Oh, I love how this one came out. I think it's like, it looks like a scrapbook, almost like a Yellowstone scrapbook page, which I think is a lot of fun. So I really want to drive home the Yellowstone point. So we're going to grab some alpha stickers. These are just white alpha stickers. These are actually from By the Well for God. I had them in my stash. And I'm going to spell out Yellowstone in white, and then I'm going to very carefully trace those letters with a black gel pen so that they really pop. You can see my spacing was a little bit off, so I'm just shifting everything over. I will do that. I will trace these in black, and then Gianna, your Yellowstone spread is going to be ready to go. I hope you love it. Thank you so much for challenging me. It was fun. Creating these really unique spreads always makes me think outside the box, and I very, very much enjoy it. So let me know which spread you liked better. Did you like Bobbie's Rockettes spread, or did you like Gianna's Yellowstone spread? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you would pick for a custom spread. I would love to hear those as well. All right, I will link things that I used down in the description box below so you can check that out. I'd also love to give a shout out to my Patreon members. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. If you want to find out more about Patreon, how you could get a custom spread each month, then you can check the link in the description box and get some more info on that. All right, that is going to wrap it up. I'm just adding a little washi tape here and there. That's from Archer and Olive, so you can check them out. Otherwise, I hope that you all have an absolutely fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.